Hello, I'm live. Am I live? Is this working? I think my camera slipped since I adjusted it. But that's okay. We're going to work with it anyways. Welcome. Hey, I made it before midnight, so I made it on Tuesday. Aren't you guys proud of me? I apologize. I do normally like to do these things a whole lot earlier in the morning, so any of you guys catching me on the flip side, welcome. I'm glad you guys can make it post-stream. Yes, we are cutting it awfully close towards midnight. I still have an hour though, so. I am going on a big trip tomorrow. I am leaving the continental United States. I'm not leaving the United States, but I am leaving the mainland, which I am super excited about. I am not even gonna lie. I have all my stuff together. I am all packed up and ready to go. And I just need a dang luggage tag. I have a... Hold on one second. Let me see so I can see the chat. I have everything packed. I am ready to go. I got my luggage. I got my backpack. I have a comfy pillow neck thing that people have so that they can pretend that they're comfy on a flight. I am ready to go. I only have one luggage tag. I have Patrick's star here. He has all information on the back, but I need one for my main suitcase. I know it's bright, it's obnoxious, and I absolutely love it, but I need to make a luggage tag so it can have my name and information on it. I am going to just use stuff I already have. This is the ankle strap for a pair of sandals that I own. This is going to be the tag part that attaches it. I wanted something with a buckle because no matter how hard you pull on a buckle, it's not going to come undone. Oh, here it is. I also have a collar, like a little kitty cat collar that clips, but I just don't trust this as much as I trust an actual buckle. So that is what I am starting with. I do not have to make this from scratch. I don't want to make it from scratch, but an old pair of sandals that are worn out beyond wear, I stole the little ankle strap from it. So that is what I'm starting with. And welcome, Trash Panda. How's Australia doing? That's where you're from, I believe. Anyways, this is, remember that couch that I harvested for leather? I am still making projects based off of it. This is just another piece. So I have this. This is not my credit card. This is a credit card they send you in the mail. It doesn't have any numbers on it. These things are great for when you have like an ATM machine like on set. I just did a commercial where somebody was taking money out of an ATM machine and we rented a machine and everything, and then nobody thought to have a card. So I'm like, oh yeah, these things are great for that. But I'm just using this for my general starting size. And I have a piece of Mylar. This is the stuff that you put over your tablecloth to keep it from getting gross. I have a whole roll of it. It's just a little square I cut off because it should be more than double this piece to work with. So I think those are the materials I'm going to work with, although I do have this fabric right here, which I just absolutely love the color, so I might just stick it in there somehow. But I'm not stressing out. I'm leaving at my house at 6:30 in the morning, and it's almost midnight. But who cares? I'm going to be sleeping on the plane. And if I don't sleep on the plane, I'm going to deal with jet lag. So good problems, right? So I'm not complaining. But I am making a luggage tag. Trash Panda, luggage tags are a forgotten necessity. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yep, Australia, it is as unpredictable as ever, LOL. Awesome. Okay. I need a pencil. or a pen. I had everything else together. It's okay. I have everything in this little tool bag. It's like a Barney bag, I think. All right, so I'm going to start with tracing the square of this rectangle of, whoops, let me not move while I'm doing this. This card size right here. Now I want it to overlap. I'm going to say 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 centimeter, I don't know. I'm using American units because I can visualize those in a few seconds. Centimeters I have to think about. All right, I took it 1/4 of an inch on the inside line of, I traced the shape of the credit card, and then I went inside the lines 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to go outside of the lines 1/4 of an inch. So it's a 1/2 an inch border total, but it goes into the card 1/4 of an inch and it sticks out 1/4 of an inch. So that there's something to my tag. Oops, there we go, that's more like it. I absolutely love clear rulers. They are my favorite rulers to work with. So you can line everything up. So now I have a whole bunch of lines. It should be a 1/2 inch border total. There's my credit card size rectangle, and then I have 1/4 of an inch on the inside of that. And now I think I'm going to give myself seam allowance. It is leather. I don't technically need seam allowance. I'm going to give myself seam allowance. Yeah. I'm going to go with just, should I go with 1/4 of an inch or a 1/2 an inch? 1/2 an inch is, this thing's ginormous. I'm going to go with only 1/4 of an inch though. All right, so I'm going to, from my original card line, that will be my cutting line. Okay. Okay, and so out of morbid curiosity, and I don't feel like doing math right now to figure out which time zone Australia is in. If it is 11:15 in the evening here, what time is it there? Is it really early or really late? Is it lunchtime? I'm a little tired, so. All right, I have a whole bunch of rectangles. A whole bunch of rectangles. I'm just going to cut out my outmost rectangle first. Paper, scissors. Not cutting any cords here. Jeez, that would cut the stream short if I ever did anything. That would cut the stream short. Okay, and then this one and this one. All right, I'm gonna cut 2 of these rectangles out of my suede. No, I'm gonna do them out leather. I don't want to get the dots or any of these weird wrinkles because I want a nice flat tag. So I am going to cut this over here, and I'm just going to trace it onto the leather directly. Probably get away with doing this on the wrong side, but I want to see what side my surface is going to be first. Okay, big scissors now. All right, I'm trying to do long, big, smooth cuts so that I don't get a jagged spot in my leather from cutting. Ooh. Exciting, it's a rectangle. It's okay. All right, let's get another one of these rectangles. I want to use this edge right here. It is a nice piece. What's nice about leather is there is no grain. Well, there's texture, there's patterns. You have to fussy cut this, all sorts of like special needs issues. But one thing that it doesn't have is grain lines. So you can go this way, that way, and it's not going to mess up the pull or the hang or the drape. But what's really nice about using an old leather couch that I cut up is that all of the piecework of matching the colors so that the leather is matching the pieces that are closest to it has already been done. All the big giant pieces have been picked out. They've been distressed, but in a good leathery way. But yeah, large pieces that have already been pre-met, like figured out, is always a great reason to use recycled leather because that hard part has already been done. Great Geek Props, welcome. It's roughly 4:17 here in Australia. Also, hi, this is the Mini Panda. Well, welcome, Mini Panda. And PM, should I say? 4 p.m. Okay, nice. Not bad. Not bad. That's not too late. Yeah. I always feel like no matter what time I go live, there's somebody that it's hard for. So if I stagger it, I will disappoint everybody, you know, in a good way. All right, let's see. Now the question is how do I want to approach the window? Because I want to slide a card in here, and I need to put a window. And I want it on the back side so I could stitch it in place and then cut back the front, or I could I don't want to trace this. I want to cut out my center of this because then everything will line up nicely. Okay. Remember, I want the border so that I can have a card this side slip in. I need to cut out along my mark that I had made so that I have that frame. And then I can also line it up on the rectangle below it. So now I have a back, I have a front, and I am going to do the same thing where I cut out this middle section. Let me trace it. Trace my rectangle. Oops. I'm going to stitch this. But before I do that, I think I'm going to slide a little bit of this crazy fuchsia as a lining. There is a grain line to this, so I do have to respect that. I am going to cut it out the same size as the giant rectangle. Would be a lot easier. Line that back up. Get all that off of there. Nobody's gonna see this hot pink. It's just for me, to make me happy. And for you guys too, because you guys get to know it's there, but nobody else will see it. And let me... I'm just gonna hang this little bit of an edge right off of the edge of my table, so that I can get this line as straight as I possibly can. Although I probably will trim it once it's all sewn. Okay, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but that's okay. All right, I have my front piece, I have my back piece. The lining's gonna go in there like that. This needs to go in here. So we have a sandwich. We have 2 pieces of bread and some jelly in there. Not going to worry about this yet. I do need to pull out my sewing machine. Let me grab that real quick and hold. Okay, let me do a test strip real quick. I need to thread this machine. I do appreciate a self-threading helper, but sometimes I feel like it can be just as tricky as just threading the machine, but I do like using it, so I use it. All right, I'm going to increase the stitch length to the longest stitch length it can go, because I don't want to perforate the leather too much to make it like those receipts that they pre-poke the holes in to make them tear easier. Oh, perfect. That's gorgeous. Okay. So, before I start putting the sandwich together, this is my piece that I drew the hole in. I'm going to stitch around this rectangle. And then I'm going to cut it and flip it and make it all nice and pretty. Oh, bingo. Okay, corners. Sometimes you have to take half a stitch or a little bit longer of a stitch because it just doesn't quite line up to that corner. And then sometimes it hits it like it was meant to be. It just hit it like it was meant to be. Let's see if we need... All right, this one needs a little bit like a half of a stitch. And how you take a half a stitch on your sewing machine is you hold your fabric still and you just by hand crank it, and then you watch the needle and it needs to go right where you need, right in the right spot, and you can adjust it so it does. You just kind of smoosh it. You smoosh it and you smoosh it and then you smoosh it. But yes. This is where if you practice stitching on paper or doing mazes, you will totally be prepared for this. Okay. Let me push this to the side for a second. Trim off my extra threads. I was thinking I should have backstitched, but this is just kind of a marking stitch. Now I'm going to go through and I am going to cut out my hole. And I'm going to do a giant X. I guess I don't technically have to do an X, but I like the way the X's work. Just cutting two, but not through the corners of the stitching. Getting as close to the stitching as you can, because the closer you are to the stitching, the nicer it will fold over. Just by the way, there's a million ways to do this. This is only one that I'm making up today. Okay. Now to fold them to the inside. I didn't think this through. I need to hammer it, but I'm not going to hammer it on this glass table. Give me 2 seconds. I have a hammer. I protected the end by taping some leather to the end of my hammer so I'm not putting any prints from the hammer onto my leather itself. I'm going to go right here, bang this a couple times, and then I'll be back on camera because I have to go where the hardwood floor is, right down here. If the thing shakes, I'm sorry. Welcome to the boring stream where I'm off camera just banging this thing away. But look it. So when I hammer it, it lays flat and it kind of holds its shape versus just kind of pushing it there and then it popping back up. But you smoosh it, you hammer it. I'm not going to hammer on the glass table. This is going to be what it's going to be at this point. Let me fold this. All right. I'm not going to hammer it just because it's going to be boring if I do, but I am going to smoosh it, stitch one side, smoosh the next side, stitch it down so that I have a nice rectangle with a pretty clear hole in it, okay? So I'm going to start with the longest side. Stitch it down. None of this has a grain line, but I don't want to fall off the edge or run out of plastic. So right along that edge that I just stitched, I am going to take it slow and do a layer of top stitching. Just kind of smoosh it and you smoosh it and then you smoosh it. I think that's a good spot. No, I think... I'm out of bobbin thread. The worst thing about sewing with leather is when you sew with leather, you make permanent holes. Oh, well. It's what you get for late night crafting. It's when all the demons are testing you. Ah. And it's always the part you're most nervous about. Ah! When it runs out of thread. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to need this much thread, but I don't want to run out of thread, so we're just going to let it go. What's nice is that a sewing machine has the same regular width of stitches, so as long as I line up the first hole, I can use the same holes that I poked just now. So it's not the end of the world. I just now have to watch what I'm doing. But I only got one side, so. Round 2. Fight. Okay, so if I put this haha. So worried about lining up the holes, I forgot to put the plastic underneath. I'm gonna take a back stitch. Lift the needle. Put this back underneath here. All right, it's late at night. It's 30 minutes till midnight. I'm allowed to make silly mistakes. Let's try this again. All right, we're doing it. Okay, when you're using vinyls and plastics and other funny materials, you have to be careful about the way the feed dogs on the bottom work, because they don't always push your funny fabrics. They might get stuck on them. That is why I like Teflon feet on my sewing machine. So hammering leather is like ironing it. When you press as you sew, when you hammer the leather as you sew, things turn out super nice, way nicer. But you can do it without it. It'll just look a little more homemade. But I believe this is going to serve the function it needs. Wait, hold on, let me smoosh it, and then you smoosh it, and then you smoosh it. And back stitch to hold it in place. Okay. I have a little window. Now, see all of these extra little points and stuff? I'm going to trim this out. I'm just going to fold it, cut the pizza off. Because I don't need all of that in there. But I didn't want to cut it off and try and like deal with teeny tiny edges. That would just be a pain in the butt. So trim my threads. Oops. All right, all my points are cut off. I have narrow seam allowances. I have a tiny window. Hi. Yeah, this is all wonky, but it doesn't matter because it's inside here. So now I'm going to layer this on top of my sandwich. So I have my window, I have my satin, I have my leather. The satin's not necessary, like I said, it is literally just for me. But I also want to give this a little bit of rigidity and support. So, where is my original? Here it is. I'm going to cut out another rectangle that matches my original pattern. Oh yeah, I put the pencil in my hair. That's where it went. Okay. My original pattern, line it up. I cut it out of cardstock, so I'm going to use this cardstock as my internal support for my luggage tag. This is never going to be washed, so using card is a cheap option. I can use like heavier plastics and other things, but okay. So now it goes back leather, card, jelly. So this lining is a stretch knit satin 4-way stretch fabric. We're not using any of the stretch properties. It is just being satin and beautiful as my lining right now. And then I'm going to put this on top of that. And now let me see if I have any. What am I hooked on? There's random string that is caught on something or other. This might be necessary. Ultimately, I just saw my clippy. I thought it was in here. 1 second. Now this is a job for a binder card. Ah! And I literally just had one a second ago. Oh well. All right, let me, because you do not, and I repeat, do not want to use pins, because pins will put holes, and remember, we don't want any unnecessary holes in our stuff as much as we can. However, glue stick is a 100% valid option. So I'm just going to use glue stick, bottom layer, my solid leather on the inside where the suede side is. I am just going to give it a nice little dollop of glue, stick my card on there. Now, I would be worried about using a glue on my sewing machine because you don't want to really gunk up your machine, except for quilters use glue sticks all the time. This stuff is amazing, and why struggle and suffer? It evaporates really quickly, so I'm not really worried about the added goo factor. Yay! It already has some more rigidity and support to it. And then this will go on top, except for I want, let me just trim off the edges of this. I wasn't going to trim it till later, but the clear is the least important part of this. It only needs to be in the window. Actually, I'm going to trim it back so that I'm not having to sew down the seam allowance, because it's one less layer to sew through, and the plastic's a hard layer for the needle to stab through. Don't use a sharp needle. Okay, you want a sharp needle, but don't use a good needle or a fresh needle for this project because it's going to go through some abuse. Okay. I'm going to want to attach my tag, so I think I want to add a loop just in here like this on one side. And I think I'm going to do the top, this side as my open edge, and I'm going to sew all the way around. Sorry, I'm thinking this as I go. Like I said, this is a very last minute project and I'm just trying to get it made, but we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna probably be struggling through this part, but let me get that sewn on first. It's staying in the same spot, so I have to lift up the foot, push it, see if it'll, there you go, now it caught on the feed dogs. All right, I'm getting up to where it's really hard. Oh good, I had enough momentum that I didn't get stuck on it. All right, let's take the corner. I think I need a half a stitch more, not a full stitch. There we go. That's nice and pretty. Half a stitch right at the corner, just a little bit. Okay. Back stitch and then forward stitch. Okay, whew. Deep breaths, I can do this. I'm going to stitch this corner a little bit better. I'm going to do, because it's right at the edge where it's going to get pulled at from putting things in and out of it. And I have a big giant first stitch. There you go. Okay. All right. Look at, it's starting to look like a tag. There's a little bit of ugly edges, but I'm going to trim those down. Let me trim off these extra little pieces. Okay. Edge. I'm trying not to make jagged edges by taking like a big clean cut on the edges so that it's nice and smooth. And I'm going to trim the top edge too. But try not to get my stitching because I don't want to cut and lose my initial locked stitch. Okay, not bad. And then where's my little ankle strap I had? I spy with my little eye. Is it in my lap? Did I drop it on the floor? It is literally right here. So I strap that slides through there. That I can now attach. Whoops. You guys want to see my cool luggage? It's a Hawaiian stitch. Doing the hula. I'm all packed and ready to go. So this just goes on the top. And because it is a buckle, I'm not worried about it falling off. Oh no. Don't worry, I'm only live. I can figure this out. I really can. Okay. Ta-da! A luggage tag for my luggage. I need to make a card to stick in there. That part's easy. The brightest white of all the cardstock paper is the cover. And that is okay. Now I just have to put my name, address, and phone number. And slide it in there. You guys can't see because I have a thing in the way, but luggage tag, front, back, it's attached. I can take out my card with my information on it if I needed to. And it has a pretty lining that I get to see and enjoy. I made it. We finished before midnight. I have my last piece of luggage all ready to go. I will not be going live next Tuesday because I will not be back and I can't. So I'm going to just accept that I can't and not go live next Tuesday, but I will let you guys know when I go live again. It should be the following Tuesday. And yeah, last live stream I announced the Discord group that I started, and I have the link for that in my last live stream, so if you wanted to go peek over there and join the Discord, you are more than welcome to. I will be sharing photos of my vacation on the Discord, so I plan on having some fun there. And also, let me just turn that off and push it to the side. But you can also follow me on Instagram, Behind the Scenes Fashions, or on my personal Instagram where it's Ish87. You can go check me out over there. I don't share as many photos over there, but I do have a lot. But yeah, so thank you guys for joining me today. I made it. It's Tuesday. It won't be for a few more minutes, but I will be gone by then because I have to go to bed because I have to wake up really early because I'm going to Hawaii and I'm so excited about it. Very first time. So I'm excited. Thank you, Trash Panda and Geek Props, for joining me. I appreciate you guys. And until next time, mwah. Aloha, hello, goodbye, and I love you. Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you.